Hello, everyone. My name is Ray Preston. I am the VP of Sales and Advisory at Flippa.com. We are the world's largest and number one platform for digital M&A. I'd like to welcome everybody who is viewing this webinar after the fact. This was a live recording. I am re-recording for transparency's sake because we want to make sure that everyone gets a beautiful copy of this. The purpose of this webinar is to how to buy an online business. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. We're going to talk about four things. Number one, why Flippa as it relates to the M&A digital real estate market. Why buy an online business? Some of the reasons as to why buying an online business can be a really fantastic investment. How to find the right asset. And then we're going to do a little bit of a dive evaluating a business. So I'll find an asset on the platform, we'll search and do a little bit of a breakdown of what that asset looks like and how to evaluate it. So moving right along, Flippa is designed for optimum efficiency. This is the only all-in-one platform dedicated exclusively to online and business M&A. We pair world-class advisory with what we call Flippa's 7 killer apps. That's AI buyer matching, that is integrated legals and e-sign, that is a dynamic multi-user deal room, that is a first in its class buyer and seller insurance, intelligent valuations, benchmarking and comparison insights, and then of course integrated escrow. So it is the world's leading deal-making technology paired with digital-first expertise from a world-class in-house brokerage team. And so we're really, really thrilled at Flippa to be able to pair the two, a platform plus an incredible brokerage team that sits on top of that platform to help get deals done, whether you're on the buy or sell side. In this instance, we're talking about what to look for when to purchase a business. As I've mentioned, our brokerage team is exclusively digital and online business specialists. We dub uniquely Flippa. Talent coming from Clearco, Goldman Sachs, Meta, KPMG, Deutsche Bank, Vented, eBanks, all with accreditation through the Certified Merger and Acquisition Advisor Alliance. So all certified M&A advisors and brokers here at Flippa. The other thing that I mentioned briefly as part of one of Flippa's 7 killer apps is our buyer and seller protect, essentially M&A insurance. It's a really innovative insurance policy designed specifically to provide buyers and sellers with peace of mind during the transaction, providing cover for up to 100% of the enterprise value. So like most cases, when you buy a house, you have some sort of insurance involved. When you buy a car, insurance is involved. And when you buy a business, specifically, in the middle market and multi-million dollar, $100 million, $1 billion transactions, insurance is absolutely part of it. And we're now offering it for our transaction size, which is anywhere from $15,000 in deal value up to $5 million in deal value. And for anything more than that, we can offer that at a case-by-case basis. This is done through our partners in Rubicon, who has been doing this for a very, very long time. And we hope it gives our buying community a bit more peace of mind when deciding on going after and purchasing a digital asset. So let's move into why buying and investing in an online business can be something substantial and also give you a substantial return on investment. So as an example, let's say you buy a $500,000 asset. Let's say that asset is generating $12,000 in net profit a month. That would be $144,000 a year. Well, this means that you will have paid a multiple of 3.4x on that $144,000. And your return on that investment would be about 28%. Now, there's not a whole lot of investment opportunities in the world where you can see an annualized return rate of 28%. This is one of the last remaining undervalued asset classes, we believe, and we see it every day where people can purchase a business at just about any price point on the Flippa platform. Again, with our certified M&A advisors / brokers, where you can buy something at a multiple and see a return this high. Traditional stock market index funds, high yield savings accounts, investing in the S&P 500 as an example, you're very rarely going to see returns this high. Now, that's not saying everything is a slam dunk. That's why we're having this webinar to show you the types of assets that you should look for and what stands out and what you should look for specifically when you buy. So who are the typical buyers that we come across at Flippa? And no doubt, if you're watching this video, this webinar, you're going to fall into one of these categories. The first is the side hustler. These are folks that are working a typical 9 to 5, and they're looking to buy something to supplement their income and or potentially get them out of the 9 to 5 day, right? Where they can buy something that can replace their 9 to 5. The next cohort is our acquisition entrepreneurs. These are folks that are buying specifically to own and operate that business. And then the third is the investor or our institutional buying community. Excuse me. These are folks buying to aggregate, to scale up, and to scale that particular business. So no doubt you fall into one of these three categories, and each are tremendous buyers on the Flippa platform, all looking for different things, but all looking for businesses that have cash flow, businesses that have opportunity to continue to grow and scale. And we'll talk through this a little bit more as well. So what should I look for specifically in a business? Well, there's a lot of things, and there's a lot more than three to think through. But at Flippa, and specifically when I'm having discussions with our buying community, it kind of comes down to three things. I think subject matter expertise is absolutely critical. And so what I mean by that is, let's imagine you're looking to buy an e-com business or a SaaS business, and that business is paying a lot on paid advertising. Well, me as a potential new operator, a new owner in this business, I have subject matter expertise in paid advertising, and maybe there's some inefficiencies that this business is currently running as it relates to that. So I could come in with my expertise, drive some efficiencies, which is going to potentially lower my ad spend and increase, the actual net profit that I'm taking for that business. One example, and everyone has their skill sets and does well at certain things. So it's really important to look for businesses that are missing your expertise, where you can leverage what you do best to make that business better. Safe bets. Look, investing is always a bet. So let's call it what it is. It's really important not to overextend yourself. And if you're a first-time buyer, specifically, kind of in the side hustler category, I think it's really important to start small, learn the process of running that business, and then kind of move up the value chain. We have instances all the time where first-time buyers are buying businesses for, sub 10K, sub 20K, learning how to operate those businesses, and then turning around and selling them, 12 months, 24 months later, for a substantial profit. There's plenty of examples of people buying these businesses for $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, and then selling them 2 years down the line, 18 months down the line for $200,000, $250,000. And so it's really important not to overextend yourself. And to certainly, if you're a first-time buyer, make sure you're getting into something that you can learn and grow with. And then lastly, I think it's got to be something that you have interest in. If you are buying a content business about, sports or sporting goods, if you have zero interest in sports or sporting goods for that matter, it's really difficult to keep your eye on the prize and find interest in what you're actually running. So I always suggest making sure that you're finding something that you have critical interest in. Moving on, what should I expect to pay? Now, multiples for business types, they constantly shift, just like the housing market, just like any asset class. Today, content businesses are selling at an average of a 3.2x multiple, and we're seeing max multiples approaching 9 and 10x. So for the fourth quartile businesses, the biggest and best content businesses that we're selling, we're able to see a 9x EBITDA or net profit multiple sale price. For e-commerce businesses, that average is 2.4x, and we're seeing maxes kind of peaking at around the 5x. For SaaS, we're seeing an average of 2.5x with a max of right around 6.4x. And then for Acts, similar to ecom, we're seeing an average of 2.3 with a max of 4. Now, that doesn't mean that your business can't exceed these. The biggest and best businesses with monster opportunities can command even more max values. And we see these things shift really month over month and quarter over quarter. And if you review Flippa's insights reports that come out roughly every 3 months, you can see how that shifts. Really excited to announce that in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to have live intelligence on the Flippa platform itself. So that's something really exciting. And if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of this screen, you can go to flippa.com/insights to see the most up-to-date insights, or just take a picture of that QR code on the bottom right, and it will take you there. Let's talk a little bit about the factors that influence valuation multiples. So key factors are going to include traffic, user engagement, revenue diversification, among other things. We're going to talk about specifically content businesses, apps, SaaS, marketplaces, and social media channels, as we've just recently launched YouTube, newsletters, and social media channels as business types. And then the strategic importance that factor in to guiding decisions and understanding business valuation potentials. So let's talk about what to look for in content businesses. Content, obviously, traffic and engagement are going to be so critical. Higher organic traffic and active user engagement absolutely enhance value. If traffic is coming more through paid advertising, that can influence value as well downward, because if all you're doing is paying for traffic, this could be a result of your potential user base not necessarily coming back over and over again. So organic, direct traffic, really, really important. The content quality and uniqueness, engaging content significantly increases valuation and also helps with search rankings. It's really interesting. Revenue diversification. So there's a lot of ways that businesses can generate revenue through content type businesses. Paid ads, like Google AdWords, affiliate marketing, product sales can all command higher multiples. So if you're not stuck in one with one revenue type, that multiple can be more. The other thing to look at as buying this business, if there is only one type of revenue stream, I would view that as an opportunity for you to turn on additional revenue streams without having to make much change or impact to the business. So something I would consider looking at if I was looking at buying a content type business. SEO and authority, strong authority score, absolutely are critical, embedded into every Flippa listing, specifically content businesses. We work with a company called SEMrush, which will give us a domain authority score. The higher that domain authority score, the more that can impact the value of the business, and the lower, vice versa. iOS and Android apps are really, really interesting. The user base and the growth of that user base is critically important, but even more important than just the total number of downloads are your daily active users. So there's instances where people are really good at marketing and driving people to download the app, but if you don't have users using the app, it really becomes a bit worthless because there's no activity and engagement. Similar to content, revenue streams is critically important. Is it a free app with some freemium features supported with ads? Is it a SaaS type model where you're paying a monthly fee to use that app? Among other revenue streams, having the ability to drive revenue from multiple streams is very, very important. Market position and user feedback. So if you look at reviews and you see 1 million downloads with a 2.5x review rating, tough business to get high value on. Consequently, on the flip side of that, strong user reviews and position in the App Store impact your valuation very good. And then retention and engagement. I mean, similar to a SaaS model, are your users coming back day over day over day, or are you churning your customer base? SaaS, you'll hear kind of the similar things here, but recurring revenue is why SaaS is so is selling so well today. It's stable, predictable revenue, and that's a key valuation driver. Also, the relationship between CAC and LTV, CAC being customer acquisition cost and LTV being lifetime value. So a healthy customer acquisition cost comparing to the lifetime value, that ratio can indicate efficient growth or non-efficient growth. Churn rate in SaaS is probably the most critical thing to evaluate after monthly recurring revenue. As your churn rate on a SaaS business increases, your ability to scale is affected. So what I mean by that is if you've got a churn rate approaching 10, 15, 20%, and you churn 10, 15, 20% of your customer base every single month, as you scale out month over month and year over year, there will become a point where your business no longer grows. In fact, it's going down. And so a really healthy churn rate is going to be sub 10%. You really want to look for a business that's sub 5%. You can also look at it as opportunity. If you see high churn rate in a business, it doesn't necessarily mean don't buy it. It means, do you have the ability to improve that churn rate? You know, is it a function of there's no customer support team? Is it a function of there's no sales team jumping in and helping? There's a lot of different things that you can do. So you can also view it as an opportunity. Marketplaces, very much like Flippa, they're valued based on strong network effects where each new user enhances value for others. Transaction volume and what we would call GMV is absolutely critical. GMV being the total transaction value of deals over the course of a year. Buyer and seller retention, high retention rates demonstrate value to users, boosting valuations. Revenue diversification. How are you driving revenue? Is it a commission on fees? Are there any sort of SaaS revenue streams, right? Is there a premium subscription model or something to that effect? And then it comes down to brand and trust. Trusted marketplaces with strong reputations are going to attract more users. Think of eBay as an example. You know, it's 2024. eBay's been around almost 30 years now at this point, probably 30 years at this point. And what do you think of when you want to go and sell used things? You still think of eBay. That is brand and trust, 100%. And then let's talk a little bit about social media channels, because these are now becoming an asset class. The size of the audience and how they're growing, engagement rates, so likes, shares, comments, watch time, all very, very critical metrics. Content quality, production quality, you know, the higher quality it looks and feels, the more value that can add. Again, you're going to see this across multiple asset types. What do the revenue streams look like? Are they diverse? Is there opportunity to turn on revenue streams that maybe aren't there as a buyer? And then influence and reach. So is there an ability to influence specific audiences, particularly in lucrative niches? So what I'd like to do now is I'd actually like to just take you guys onto the Flippa platform as a whole. I'm going to stop sharing my screen really quick, and I am going to go to Flippa and then reshare my screen. So bear with me 10 seconds while I pull this up. Now sharing my screen, and we are now on Flippa. So here I am on Flippa proper. I really like SaaS businesses at the moment. It's one of our most popular selling asset classes. A lot of searches are happening for SaaS businesses as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click here on SaaS. And let's have a look here and see if there's one worth looking at. This one's interesting. It's a SaaS sports and outdoor business. You can see, obviously, that this business has been verified by our vetting and verification team. We also have insights into their Google Analytics and insights and integrations into their PayPal. So this will be a really interesting business to look at. I also really like it because, I don't know much about it at the moment, but it's 10 years old. And like anything, age is a critical component. Somebody able to run a SaaS business for 10 years makes me think that there's opportunity for it to continue going. And the multiples are looking pretty good compared to the multiples that we saw earlier. It could be the fact that it looks like it's a bit of a sports gambling. And if you know anything about Australia, where this business is based out of, gambling is certainly a big part of the culture. It's becoming that way with sports betting in the US. So let's actually dig into this and have a look. So there's a few things that I'm going to look at immediately. I can see that currently this business has had over 5,400 views. And there are currently 383 potential buyers engaging with Ashwin, who is the broker on this business. The name of the business is called Predictology. They're doing, on average, $31,000 of net profit a month. It's a football betting data, football trading and automation. You can see that this business, being sub $5 million, is verified for our Rubicon partner, M&A Insurance, which is really good. You'll see here a meet the seller interview. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you can see Ashwin, our broker, having a unique conversation with the seller of this business. And I would encourage everyone to watch these videos as they're available. We can also see what we would call our information memorandum, a brief summary about the business, key highlights, the analytics that these are looking for. You can see the distinct reason for selling. This particular seller is looking to raise capital for another business venture, and that's very, very common. He'd like to take the revenue and the profit from the sale of this business and invest it into another business that he's running. There's information on the operations of the business, who the customers are, financials, obviously, some key stats, among other things. Who this business would be perfect for, the assets that are included. There's a comparisons and benchmarking section, so you can see how this business is listed compared to others that are similar. This seems to be listed at a lower multiple than some of the competitors out there, which is a good thing to see. You can also see the revenue and expenses for the trailing 12 months. You can see the integrated PayPal data. So you can see exactly how much revenue this business is generating month over month, and this updates every month. So come May, it's May 1st right now, but come May, I want to say 10th, we'll update for prior weeks and prior months. And then, of course, we have our Google Analytics data where you can see the unique visits remaining steady, but the overall page views continuing to increase. And what's really important to know here, as I mentioned earlier, you can see where the traffic to this business comes from, direct and organic. So roughly 90% of the traffic on this site monthly is coming from direct search and organic search. You can also see where, this being an Australian business, this has been marketed to United Kingdom. So you can see most of the traffic actually comes from the UK. You can see our SEMrush integration. And you can also see, scroll down here at the bottom, and you can see P&L for the business, among other things. So it's a really, really interesting business. You can see here, Ashwin is the certified M&A broker that is managing this business and selling this business as the broker for the seller. And you can see that Ashwin has done a number of transactions on the platform and is engaging with every single one of these buyers. So I actually, if I'm looking at a SaaS business, this is a really interesting one. The gambling bit is a bit of a gray area. So you have to understand kind of the laws of the country that you're operating out of. I think that's really, really important. Obviously, if you're a UK buyer, this would fit in well. If you're an Australian buyer, potentially fit in well. There's opportunity potentially in the US market as sports gambling is becoming a bit of a thing here. But that's just kind of a quick way to view this business. And if you're interested, you can literally submit an LOI and you can contact the broker through the platform itself. So I'll stop sharing my screen there and get back into the actual presentation. the last thing I want to leave you guys with are, as a buyer, what are some of the questions that I should ask the seller? I'm not going to read all these out to you, but I think these are a really, really good kind of first step when engaging with, if it's Ashwin, the broker on the deal. These are things that you can look for to ask to start your high level due diligence. This doesn't suffice for due diligence, but this is kind of the start to see if there is additional interest to go down the due diligence rabbit hole. I hope that you found this informative. I hope that you understand a little bit more about the metrics that matter. I hope this left you with a little bit of a feeling as to, why Flippa and kind of the 7 killer apps. I'll take you through those one more time. The 7 killer apps being our AI-powered buyer matching, which matches you directly to businesses that meet your profile. Our integrated legals and e-signs. So we've integrated LOI and APA builder that lets you submit LOIs and APAs directly on the platform, keeping you safe and protected. There's our dynamic deal room, which lets you communicate with the broker and the seller directly. There's our buyer and seller insurance, which is first of its kind in the space. Intelligent valuations with benchmarking, which allows you to see where the business is selling for given current market conditions. There's our which I've just talked about, our benchmarking comparisons insights. And then there's our integrated escrow and Flippa Pay, which lets you transact and get a deal done on the platform safely and securely. Again, world-class technology, M&A matching technology paired with unparalleled digital first-class expertise from our brokerage team. Thank you so much for watching the webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our team. There will be a link that's added to this, or an email link that you can see. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found this informative and worthwhile. Cheers.